Good morning. Welcome back to ACID G. Hilliard, where I am doing science labs online for my students who are not able to be in class while we are doing this. So, today we're actually going to build an estuary in a cup. What is an estuary? An estuary is actually where the river water from that is fresh water meets the salt water from the ocean, and it forms this area. And until that water is kind of mixed together, it causes an estuary. So we're actually going to talk about why that happens and why the water has to be mixed together before it looks a little, kind of looks a little weird. It looks a little different before it does that. So I have a freshwater cup, a saltwater cup, water, salt, because it makes sense, right? I have yellow and blue food coloring. I have something to stir it with. I have an empty cup, and I have, well, it's actually my daughter's medicine little thing, but I couldn't find any eyedroppers, which was what I was really hoping to be able to do. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pour salt in my salt cup. I'm gonna pour a whole bunch in it. That way I know that I've got enough. And then, brand new water bottle, just opened it for the first time, and I'm gonna pour in about half of this cup. And I'm gonna do the same with the fresh water. As you can see, there is nothing in this, so it is exactly the same water that is going in both. The only difference between the fresh water and the salt water is that I poured that salt in with it. Now I'm gonna go ahead and mix it up. Make sure that that salt is all dissolved in it. All right. That should be pretty good. There we go. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to put the yellow food coloring in with the salt water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm gonna take the blue food coloring and I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put my finger right here on this stick, and I'm gonna go ahead and stir it so that the food coloring goes all the way through. And then using the other side, I'm gonna go ahead and mix this one up. So now we have two very distinctive colors in our cup. Do you see? So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and set this salt aside. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this icky colored salt water. I don't wanna smell it. That's not what you do in a science lab. And I'm gonna pour it in the empty cup. All right? I see that there is still a little bit of salt that did not dissolve, but it's not a whole lot. So actually, it looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see that there's still some grains on the bottom, and you can actually see that it's kind of moving around as well. All right? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my eyedropper, and I'm actually gonna take as much as I can in this, and I'm gonna put it up to the side, and I'm gonna slowly drop little bits of water right onto this cup. I want to make sure that I take it really slow, because otherwise that water is actually going to mix, and it's going to mix faster than it needs to. I'm trying to get this all set up. Pour it in as slowly as I can. All right, I'm almost to the end of this. Let's see. There. Ooh, we're getting a pretty good line here. I'm hoping that you'll be able to see it. Let's do a little bit more. And like I said, I'm just going to take it slowly, slowly. I don't want to mix it up too much too fast. And even looking at the camera right now, you can see that there is a very distinct line on this. You really can. It's kind of interesting. Now, if you look at this, I'm going to move it very, very carefully. That way I know that it doesn't mix up. If you look at this, you can see very distinctly that there is a line right here. All right, and then this part is yellow. This is green. This part is yellow. Now, why is that? So saltwater has that additional salt in it, which means that it is heavier than the freshwater. Now, you've seen that I have 2 layers here. So what happens if I mix it? Make your prediction of what do you think is going to happen? First of all, do you see the layers here? What happens when I mix it up? You ready? We're going to try it. Wow, it mixed up automatically, didn't it? I don't see any layers. I don't see any specific lines. Everything is just straight green. It's kind of interesting, isn't it? How the salt water was very distinctly on the bottom because it was heavier than the fresh water, right? So if that salt water is on the bottom and the fresh water is on top, why, when I poured it in, did it mix up very fast? What does that remind you of when the river water, the fresh water, meets that salt water? If it's flowing through slowly, what is it going to do? Then, once those tidal currents come through and start mixing these up, both of these, what happens? I hope you enjoyed today's experiment. I really love doing these. It really makes me happy to be able to see that I am helping out students. I am Mrs. Rogers. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck. Have fun in science.